Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Discussing Digital. Today, I'm discussing digital marketing with Ian Dickson, a business coach I've known for a long time. So, Ian, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your business?
Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah. For those that don't know me, my name is Ian Dickson. And for the last 19 years, nearly 20, crazy. I know, don't even like saying it, but I've been supporting local and international businesses now, business owners just like your viewers, really, to become healthier, wealthier, and happier. So whether that be one-to-one, one-to-many, training, presentations, yeah. So coaching, training, all sorts of things, really. So yeah, I love what I do. I don't feel like I've worked for the last 20 years, but I don't want anyone to catch me. So I love it.
Brilliant. No, that's really good. And as we talked before the show about
Mm.
how good it is to be actually doing it. It's not a job, it's something you love doing, which is
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Yeah, so to start with, it'd be really good to just have a bit of a discussion about how you're using digital marketing to promote yourself and your business and your events. So obviously, if people are
Mm.
watching the video, you've got a scroll going on
Mm.
above your head,
Yeah,
effectively, promoting your business boost camp, which
yeah,
is an online event you're running later in January.
yeah. So, yeah. So, like I say, because I've been going 19, nearly 20 years, when I started, there wasn't, other than your website, there and email campaigns, that was kind of it digitally. There was no social platforms as such, really. There may have been one, just trying to think, but very, very little. So I've worked through the transition into this digital world that we live in. And I love the fact that you work with people and they're asking the same questions, but how you answer those questions, how you go and do those things has changed. And back in 2004, when I first started, if I wanted to run an event, I would have to literally sit in front of the TV and stuff maybe as many as 3,000 envelopes, stick stamps on those envelopes, put them in the post, advertise in the Portsmouth News, get out physically networking. And it was like, shoe leather. It was really hard. And then with the introduction of these social platforms, and doing what I do for a living, I've had to be at the front end. So even if there are platforms, for example, I have never installed TikTok onto my system. I don't use TikTok, never use TikTok. And if anybody ever asks me, I say I don't know about TikTok. But as each of the other platforms have come along, I've put my swimming trunks on and dove in. So when Facebook arrived, I was in there. When LinkedIn arrived, I was in there. When Twitter arrived, I absolutely jumped on Twitter straight away. And my analogy is you're juggling two balls. You've got LinkedIn and Facebook, and then Twitter turns up. So I see that as another ball. You can't put one of the other ones down. You got to pick that one up too. And then YouTube, Pinterest. Yeah. So each time a new platform has arrived, I've basically put my trunks on and jumped in. So some I probably spend more time on than others, as much because my client base or my prospect base is more likely to be there. Some because that I find them a better match for my product or service. But as much for me it is to understand the platform as it is to be able to help or educate clients,
Yeah.
the pros and cons of platforms.
I mean, we'll talk about your event in a minute because I think yeah,
Mm,
we said we would. But I'm interested just to go back on your point about TikTok and you've jumped in on all the other platforms as they came out, but
mm.
not that one. Is there a particular reason why it's just you just haven't gone in that direction?
Yeah, so um I've not said this publicly before, but between me and you, I'm gonna.
Hmm.
Right. So I haven't up to now, but this year I will put my trunks on and jump into TikTok and have a look. So
Yeah,
and to go back to the question, I think when the platform first arrived, a bit like Facebook, when that platform first arrived, it was very much a different demographic platform. It was for a different audience. But like all things, business people are shrewd enough to, exploit, take advantage of, and get tucked into. And people saw that there was an opportunity there to make money and to promote their products and services. And I know for a fact that over the last 18 months, it has become a platform that even accounting firms and all sorts are using it in a way to promote their products or services. So this year I will add that ball to my juggle set. So
yeah, it's definitely worth it. I'm just dipping my toes in it at the moment, but I recorded an episode of this. Well, it was actually recorded about 18 months ago, released it last year with Alison Colley. Do you know Alison?
I know Alison.
Yeah,
Yeah, lives on the
yeah,
island. Yeah.
yeah. Well, she's been using TikTok for ages, and she's getting loads and loads of business through it. But basically, she just records a short video every day or regularly, asking a simple question about HR. And she said it grew sort of particularly in lockdown when there was a lot of questions about furlough and things like that, and she would literally just go on there every day. It's just her talking to her phone effectively, answering a question about HR, and it's been really, really successful for her. So yeah, I'll give Alison's sort of channel a bit more of a boost. Well worth going and have a look at. I mean, the view figures are amazing.
I'll definitely be embracing that platform this year. But part of my DNA is I love to understand things. So, and part of the enjoyment for me is to unravel it and work out how it works. So,
yeah. Well, if you ever want to chat about it offline somewhere, it's a fascinating platform for me, and it's a place I'm going sort of getting more into. Because the other good thing with those vertical, the format short form videos. It's clearly shaking up the other platforms, because now obviously Reels are all over Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube have put their YouTube Shorts element in as well. So you can actually record it once and put it in at least 4 places. So no, they're well worth going. I'm going to come back to you about Facebook in a bit, because obviously we talked again offline, but let's use this opportunity in case I don't think we will forget, but in case we miss it, talk a bit more about your Business Boost camp, and how you're delivering that and promoting it digitally.
Right. So probably for the last, certainly pre-COVID, probably 6 years, maybe 7, nearly all the events that I have run I've used the digital platforms to promote. So and of course, then once we got into COVID and lockdown, events were being run online. So, and I was never really one for doing webinars, really. I would always prefer to get people into a room. Even now, I would say that the amount that we learn when we're physically in the room is far greater than if we are in a little box in our slippers at home. So, but we are running what I've called a Business Boost camp on the 26th of January. I don't really want to put a sales head on, but it's basically build, optimize, organize, systemize, and turbocharge is the boost. And basically, through the Christmas break, I came up with a process where you can generate 3,125 combinations. It's a very specific number for a reason. And the idea is you'll never be short of ways in which to grow your business. If there's 3,125, you can't sit in front of me and say, I don't know what to do. So as in, there's 3,125 combinations. So go shake the globe and get another set of combinations to play with. So so if just people can go and find it, it's all across my website and across my socials. So I used Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or X as we call it, to promote. So they're the balls that I juggle. Instagram as well. So all of my social platforms are active. I don't just have a social platform that's kind of mothballed. They're all very active. So that's not true. Pinterest is probably I have a Pinterest account, but I don't really, it has got a lot of content on it, but it may be 5-6 years, so the lights are off.
Yeah. So have any of them been better for getting people along to the event or to book at the moment, or is it pretty much kind of much for muchness type thing?
Facebook, but it's relative, as in Facebook has probably been a dominant platform for me anyway. So I didn't really properly engage with LinkedIn as a platform until about 4 or 5 years ago. And even now, the last 9, 12 months, I have turned the wick up on LinkedIn. So I've really spent some time understanding that algorithm and what have you. So the short answer to your question is events prior to, today really have been predominantly Facebook has been the primary platform to promote.
Yeah, cool. And obviously, as we're talking about digital marketing, I'm assuming some of the ideas, without giving away too many secrets, some of the ideas of how that you're going to cover on the event are digital.
Of course, yeah. So, and actually, the way that the day structured is very different to the thing I'm known for, which is the Big 100, which is like 100 business tips. There is some tips and ideas in there, of course, but this is about how to improve conversion rates, how to get people to spend more money, and there are things that you can do on your digital platforms that will improve those things. So I'll give you, I'm quite happy to give a giveaway, is that I'll give you two. So if you want to improve conversion rate on your website, have a guarantee that I can see, or some kind of promise, or some
Great tip.
customer charter, or something that says if you don't deliver, you will do X, or it's something that guarantees promises or customer charter. That absolutely is a proven conversion rate improver. So another one, which is just as a side, if you want to improve conversion rate, is to demonstrate, show, and promise to deliver quickly. So those two things, I almost guarantee you now, everybody that is watching or listening won't have those things on their website.
Yeah, no, but they are both really, really good tips. And
it's very simple.
Yeah.
So if I go to a website and I can see it'll be delivered quickly, and I can see the guarantee or the promise if something isn't what it should be, then I'm more likely to buy. So by definition, then that improves conversion.
Oh, that's brilliant. I must admit, it sounds like a great event. And I think we were saying earlier that you are planning to run it again more as a face-to-face event later in the year.
Yeah, ideally, I don't want to say this is a test run. It's not. It's just that I'm so busy at the moment. I'm going away with work in February for 3 weeks, and I just can't get it in to do a physical event. You need, I've learned over the years. In fact, I won an award for events, a European award for business events, 2007, and one of the things that I was training other people to understand is you need 12 to 16 week lead time to have a successful event. So because it takes time to build momentum, especially on the social platform. So we haven't had the time this year to do that.
Yeah, and I should give a little bit of a testimonial for your events in the past. I've attended the Big 100 and a couple of other ones as well, and all the tips you do are great. They're really good events. So I'm sure the online one's going to be good as well. So looking forward to that. So as I said earlier, I'd just like to go back to Facebook, because before we were discussing before we joined sort of the recording, we were discussing about the challenge in some ways of running a Facebook group community. Because obviously you created one called the My Business Academy, isn't it? Which you put lots of stuff in. It was very active, got lots of members to start with, but it's kind of died a little bit of a slow death.
It's just become a graveyard. So it's got over 3,000 people in it. And there's probably, my guess, I don't know, but there may be as many as 60 or 70 people that would check in on that. So some of it was down to me. Some of it is just life cycle. Things have a start, middle, and end. It turned up. We created it at probably the just perfect timing, because obviously with the arrival of COVID and what have you, and we had an amazing community there. But what it does demonstrate and proves to me is, and I'm in groups that are very successful and very proactive. the cautionary tale I would say is when you create a monster like that, it gets very hungry, and if it's lovely to have a community where people have opted in, and these are you have four types of customers, right? So you've got prospects. You've got a one-to-one type prospect that is warm. You've got a one-to-many prospect which is warm, and you've got a one-to-one which is cold, and a one-to-many that's cold. And a Facebook group is a one-to-many warm. So they know who you are, they know what you do, they've opted in, and so they're a lot easier to sell to than one-to-many cold. So and of course you can get one-to-one warms out of a one-to-many group. So they are great things to do, but you know, if there was a cautionary message to put out, is bring your shopping bags full of food, because a group will need feeding every day to keep it active. One of the things that we worked very hard to do with the MBA was to get community to provide content. We created people within our group to be ambassadors for the MBA as well, and you know, they were marked as people that were special. You know, this was all done very deliberately, and yeah, you know, so like I say, I love to understand how things work, and you know, if somebody sat me down and said I'd like to do a Facebook group, how should I go about it? In fact, maybe I should do a video on it. There's something for you to do, Rob.
Yeah.
You know, how to build a successful Facebook group. It's certainly something I've done, thoroughly enjoyed it, but geez, it needs some feeding.
Yes. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And we could probably sneakily segue that into something else we were talking about beforehand, as you said that you're interested in talking about, and that's the use of AI.
Yeah.
Because some people might think, oh, I can use AI to feed that. But we were talking earlier about actually there's a particular way to use AI as a tool nowadays.
Yeah. So is to it's kind of interesting because how there's a nice kind of flow, is that you've got something that it's called artificial intelligence. So you've got a digital solution, you've got a digital information, and then you've got the human, and then you'll go into a digital platform. And the thing is to make sure that when it passes through you, it turns into something human. And so one of the things that I'm talking about this year, as a theme for 2024, is to humanize your digital marketing. So that people know that the content, even if it comes from a digital source, like a chatbot or whatever it might be, even if it comes from a digital source, humanize it, or you know, red knight it, or you know, rob it, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know, make it yours. And
definitely.
the simplest way, which I think I shared with you, the simplest way to do that is, you know, extract some content from one of these platforms, and then press the record button on your video and talk about what it is that you've just learned, or the information that you've just got. Don't cut and paste it into LinkedIn and press send. That's like, it drives me nuts, mate. Already, it's just like it's killing me. And I think the platforms will, as smart as AI is, I think it'll be its own demise. I think it'll work out. They'll use tools to ban the tools.
Yeah,
So
no, I think you're absolutely right. And I said, yeah, we talked about it offline.
yeah,
Yeah, they're already, you know, people like Google and that are already sort of making sure they're building into their algorithms that if they spot something that's totally AI generated, it doesn't get the rankings that
yeah,
human generated content
yeah.
it
And you know, we
will
should
do.
all make a stand. We don't want to be reading, you know, I can type it into Chat GPT, but I don't need to have my walls covered in AI produced content.
Yeah.
You know, I want to read stuff that's of interest. So it doesn't mean it's not of interest, but by the same token, I don't understand the individual behind it if it's a cut and paste from a bot. So
Yeah, yeah, and it all goes back to, you know, sort of like, I mean, we first met at For Networking. One of the big things there was meet like no trust, and you
yeah.
know, and that all goes, you know, so some of the way people are using AI goes completely against that, because actually you're
Mm.
not meeting, liking, and knowing them, you know, because you're not seeing the human side of it.
And a big up to you with, putting the time and effort into producing something like this, is because I am not a deep fake. I am actually here. So this is me. Look, I
Yeah.
promise you, I am actually here. So
Yeah. And it's hard to be a deep fake with a shirt like this. Oh dear. Well, I'm conscious of time,
yeah.
and there's I just want to cover three more things, right? The first off was when was your response in the to my pre recording question of talk about your most successful post, and your response was
Right. So I read that as was it most successful post
yeah,
or thing that I've done on digital. Anyway, I most successful post. Did I write it down?
yeah. But your response to me was define successful,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
which
Right.
was really
So
good.
yeah. So So, and of course, I have this conversation with clients. So um, there are multiple levels. This goes actually right back to the days before social platforms, when I was running events and my coach would say to me, was it a successful event? And I said, well, it depends where in the process you want to measure the success. So the first level of success is that we got 35 people registered. Tick. That's like, as far as I'm concerned, from a marketing perspective, I wanted 35 booked. So there's an argument that says in that regard, from a marketing perspective, it's a success. Okay, 32 people turned up. That's a success because we wanted 30. So of the 35, 32 turned up. And then maybe I didn't get any additional work from it. Is it still a success?
Yeah,
So, or I only got 2 inquiries and I didn't convert any new business. Is it still a success? So, and that translates across to the digitals, whether it be your website, bounce rate, how long they stay, whether your numbers are green or red, up or down. And then with the social platforms, everybody does it just for clicks. One of the lines I used last year is that we would all be envious of our own social media. So, we just do it for the clicks. Nobody does it for any other reason. And so your primary measure of success, if we were to be generic, is how many people saw my stuff. Well, people seeing your stuff doesn't make you successful. So is that a measure of success? The true measure of success is the money in the till. So, that's, if you strip it all away, did it convert and have I got business from it? So
yeah,
part of the challenge, Rob, is that posting something to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even TikTok, that it spikes and like 15,000 people see it. You think, wow, that was a great post. And then 3 months later, they come and sign up and do some work with you. Trying to join those dots back together again can sometimes be very tough. So,
yeah,
especially if you're across all the platforms. So, basically, when I'm working with clients, I say to them, we need measures, and we need to measure whether or not it was, successful at whatever level it is. But we don't need to be like, it's not a failure if we didn't get any business from it. So, one of the things I say about my events pre-digital is that if we had 32 people in the room, I sent 32 people away after 3 hours with me. They know whether or not I'm good, bad, or indifferent.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
for me, that's a success.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and some very quick takeaways from that is like setting targets, and having some different definitions of what success is at different levels. But you might not hit all of them, but actually there's a number of ways through it. But at the end of the day, we're all businesses, and money in the till is the most important one.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
so that was really good. I was just it really piqued my interest when I saw your response to that. So thanks for talking about that a bit more.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and just sort of finally before we wrap up, obviously, I ask all of my guests for two tips, right, to share with
Oh
everyone.
God, I've got about 10.
One is do this, it works really well on digital, and one is don't do that, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So if you could do this tip first, please, that'd be great.
Right. So, well, the first thing obviously we've already done is to humanize your digital content. Um, the Another one is rule of thirds. If you're looking for some guidelines, on any of these platforms, a third of your time should be spent engaging with your existing audience. A third of your time should be spent trying to grow that audience, and a third of your time you can spend selling your stuff. And that essentially means about once a week you can feel comfortable saying, buy my stuff. So one of the big things that I'm seeing a lot of is that people are very, very busy marketing on their social platforms, and they've got 800 connections or 800 people in their community. And the analogy that I give, that's the equivalent of walking into Wembley Stadium with an A4 flyer, and there are 8 people in the stadium. They could be anywhere in the stadium, but there's 8 people in there. And you hold up your A4 flyer, and no one can see what it is that you're offering. You might go into the stadium the next day, and there's a guy stood next to you, and you hold up your flyer, and you think, fab. You show him your flyer. Guess what he does?
Looks away.
He holds up his
Oh,
flyer.
yes.
So he's doing what you're doing. So, right. So then you put 150,000 people into the stadium. Fabulous. Now you've got a community. You walk into Wembley Stadium with 150,000 people. You hold up your A4 flyer. You're confronted by 150,000 people holding up their flyers. It's tough. It's tough. Get your head around the fact you need to grow your community, warm to many. You know, what one to many warm is ultimately what the social platforms are, but you are absolutely one to many cold to the majority of them. So, and the only way they get warm is by, keeping going. So
Yeah.
I could give you lots, to be honest. Obviously it's a big topic. Yeah. So I in fact, I listed lots here. So maybe they should come along to my event on the 20th.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, listen, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity just to be able to share some stuff, to be honest with you. I'm very vocal about these things, and the digital platforms are incredibly important to any small business, really. You need to engage. I can still remember now people saying to me, should I be on Facebook? Should I be on Twitter? Should I be using, people ask me, should I be using TikTok? And I said, I don't know, I don't use it, but that will change this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so finally, obviously, what would you say? One thing, just don't do that. We've got one bad thing to do. So just to avoid doing it.
What shouldn't I do? Other than stop. I'm not which is why I like the warm or cold. 1-to-1 warm is fine. 1-to-1 cold, which is essentially when somebody connects with you on LinkedIn and then you go into their DM box and say, I've got this fabulous product, you want to buy it. That's 1-to-1 cold. And that's not how these platforms are supposed to work. Social selling is the terminology, isn't it? So you create and engage and build relationships. So this isn't Tinder. So the whole idea here is that we get into a relationship first.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's brilliant stuff. So thank you so much for sharing with all those tips. And obviously you've got loads more. So I definitely advise people to sign up and come along to your booster camp.
Thank you.
And on the back of that, so if they want to do it, what's the best place for them to sign up? I will share links anyway in the show notes. But
just type my name into Google. To be honest, I'm on page 1. Mum would be very proud if you put my name into Google. I'm on page 1, and then you'll find my website. Or, of course, digital media. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I have 122 videos on YouTube. That's a big platform for me this year. That was a big mistake I made in 2021. I stopped producing video content, but I'm back on it. So you'll find me on all of those platforms. So if you can't find me, ring me. So
brilliant. All right, that's great. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a brilliant chat, and I'll be pushing this because you've shared so many tips.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but no, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.